Hello there, good evening and welcome to Prime Business. Coming up tonight, the Institute of Economic Affairs is proposing a strict oversight by Parliament over borrowing and debt accumulation as per Article 181 of the Constitution, a move it believes will significantly reduce the country's unsustainable debt. The economic and policy think tank is also recommending the imposition of a debt ceiling of 60% of gross domestic product at any time, which is generally regarded to be a sustainable threshold. Director of Research at the Institute, Dr. John Kwachi, spoke on Business Live.
Where we are, because we are not able to practice fiscal discipline. We don't live within our means, and we record budget deficits, and borrow to finance it on a regular basis. And that's what has brought us to this unsustainable debt situation. So what we are saying is that, rather than leaving our economic managers, to manage the economy on a discretionary basis, of course there are some rules, but we are saying the rules may not be enough. So let's introduce some more rules. Other countries that have done so have performed much better than us. So we are saying let's impose, well, there's already a fiscal ceiling, debt ceiling, deficit ceiling of 5%. We are even asking that it is brought down further to 3%. This is what the ECOWAS convergence criteria is. In addition to that, and specifically on the debt, we are saying that instead of taking us to where we were before HIPIC, before 2004, when our debt to GDP ratio had risen to over 100%. We are back there, So we are saying that we should impose a debt ceiling on the economic managers and institutionalize it.
Now, senior finance lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Business School, Sarah Mkao, is of the view that the downgrade of Ghana's credit ratings to restrictive default will further worsen the country's efforts at securing an IMF deal on time. Fitch, in its latest report, also downgraded Ghana to CC from CCC and subsequently withdrew the issue ratings on 5 local currency bonds issued prior to the domestic debt exchange program. Now, Fitch attributed the rating action to missed payments on some of Ghana's local currency bonds issued prior to the domestic debt exchange. Speaking on the issue, Mr. Kawa said the downgrade could influence gains made with external creditors for debt restructuring.
These issues are not new to us because we have seen these downgrades before the debt restructuring. After the debt restructuring, we are witnessing same and further downgrades. What it means to us is that it will become very difficult for us to get the IMF bailout. It is also showing us that the country is not doing so much in terms of us working assiduously with the external debt creditors so that we'll be able to get the IMF bailout. And missing out on the IMF agenda for April tells us that there is a lot of work that we need to do in order to get the deal working out for us as a country.
Wow, did you say it becomes so fast?
Yes, it is going to be very difficult for us to do that because as we speak, the external creditor committee that is supposed to be formed to negotiate the deal with IMF, to negotiate our getting the financial assurance to present to the IMF for the bailout to be successful has not been formed yet. If the external creditor committee has not been formed yet, and that committee is very vital for us to get these deals, then it is something that we need to look at. And you look at the external credit rating agencies, they've told us that the debt restructuring that has been done has been able to achieve only 1% reduction in the total debt to GDP ratio, 1%. And we also heard of the finance ministry telling us that there is a need for other individual and institutional debt holders in the country to come on board. All this put together is telling us that there is a lot of work we need to do to make our debt sustainable and raise enough domestic revenue.
Now, Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, is urging African countries to work more on improving macroeconomic stability to support trading activities on the continent. According to her, it will make more years for the continent to have a strong currency to match up the American greenback. Speaking at a forum held by the Institute of Economic Affairs, she called for a strong platform to ease intra-trade activities.
It will take a long time because trading in a currency depends on confidence. And the dollar has by far and away, for many years, been the currency of use. People trust the stability in the US, the macroeconomic management there, the political management. So the dollar has generated so much confidence that it has become the currency of choice. In order to have another currency that matches it, you need that level of confidence. And that means you also need that level of stability in the economy of that country. So it will take a long time before we find currency. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying it will take time to find another international currency that engenders that level of confidence. In the meantime, what we can develop and what the African Continental Free Trade Area is developing are platforms that enable us to trade in our own local currencies here. So I think that is what is happening, and that's a direction in which we can move. Of course, you know, the lady mentioned the volatility in the currencies, the depreciation, the difficulty. These are the teething problems you will see as more and more countries get onto that platform, which enables us to trade in our own currencies. And as countries manage their economies better, there are some things you have to do for yourself. So I can't bring stability. WTO cannot bring macroeconomic stability to a country and stop the currency from depreciating or the exchange rate. That management has to come from inside the country. And that is what the US manages to do to keep the dollar stable. So if once we get our macroeconomic management right in many of our countries, we bring more stability to all the currencies, then it will become easier to trade. So that's the only thing. So we just need to keep at it. Right now, things are not very stable, but you must remember that not all of it is the fault of those managing the economies internally. There were also some external shocks. Certainly the pandemic was a shock that nobody foresaw. The war in Ukraine was another shock. So there have been some external shocks, and we just need to navigate those.
Now, a Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture has reiterated the commitment of government to the development of agric in Ghana. Speaking at the opening ceremony of a two-day knowledge exchange conference on farmer-led irrigation development in sub-Saharan Africa, the minister stated that government will open up investment space for small-scale farmers to access technology for farm-led irrigation. The following report has more.
The Sub-Saharan Knowledge Exchange Conference, organized by the International Water Management Institute with support from USAID, World Bank, Feed the Future, Water and Energy for Food, and other partners, is to share and learn ideas and strategies from different parts of Africa on farmer-led irrigation in Sub-Saharan Africa. The conference brought together stakeholders in the agricultural sector across Africa. Dr. Olufunke Kofi is a country representative of the International Water Management Institute of West Africa.
Yeah, the International Water Management Institute has convened this meeting together with other partners. We want to capture lessons that have been learned in implementing farmer-led irrigation development all over Africa, sub-Saharan Africa particularly. We realize that in many countries there are quite a lot of interventions. There are many practices, good practices. There are many business innovations and also research results, knowledge that have been generated across different sectors by different stakeholder groups, whether they're in the private sector or whether they're in the public or in the academia. So the essence is to bring everyone back together so that we can actually capture all the lessons, discuss where are we in this trajectory of growth with farmer-led irrigation development, where are the gaps, and what should we be doing now going forward. Basically, that is why we are gathered, and we are hoping that at the end of this two-day meeting, we would have really identified opportunities to catalyze further investments in farmer-led irrigation development in Sub-Saharan. The way it is called, it is farmer-led, means that these are all farmer innovations. These are just things they do by themselves with little or no support from other sectors, and it's all dependent on their access to water to do something like dry season farming, their access to resources, access to markets and to information and to knowledge. So in many cases, some of these things are lacking. And so we know that many individuals and organizations are stepping in to support. So we have identified some good cases and we're bringing them together to actually see how they have been doing it in those few cases that are like bright spots, and how we can kind of scale those innovations.
The Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture, Alhaji Hadi Tafiru, assured government was committed to the development of agriculture. He also expressed confidence that a farmer-led irrigation will help mitigate the effect of climate change.
The Bank of Ghana has been committed to the agriculture sector over the years because agriculture remains the backbone of the country, contributing 60% of Ghana's workforce and 20% of GDP in 2020. Due to climate change, with unprecedented climate variabilities, the sector contribution to GDP is projected to decline by 0.8% to 2.5%. And food production itself also to decline by 7% in this year to 2050. This is a threat that must be addressed. As most farming activities are rain-fed, the impact of climate change and already significantly affecting the ability of farmers to predict rainfall patterns, frequency, intensity, and variability during the major and minor crop seasons. Therefore, without improving in irrigation, infrastructure, and agricultural water management, farmers in Ghana will be severely affected by climate change, leading to food insecurity, poverty, and hunger. This is where irrigation becomes very important to help adapt to the variability in water availability for food production, especially during the dry season. In response to the challenges of climate change, low crop productivity, and weak market linkages, the government established several developmental programs with the sole aim of ensuring food security, increasing rural incomes, and creating jobs for the teeming youth in particular, and women.
Lorenzo Carrera represented the country director of the World Bank, who are a funding partner to the conference.
So for the World Bank, and particularly in these times of crisis, coming from the COVID-19 crisis to the war on Ukraine and the effects on trade, macroeconomic crisis, debt crisis, addressing food security and climate change for the World Bank is at the core of our mission. And farmer-led irrigation can address these two major World Bank priorities. In Africa, there are estimated 33 million of smallholder farmers who are essential for the production of food and food security. But they're also vulnerable to climate change. Many of these farmers live in remote areas and are heavily reliant on rainfall, which is becoming more erratic, and often lack the resources or the public infrastructure to produce food and maintain their livelihood. So irrigation development is very important and is one of the most effective ways farmers have to build resilience to climate shock and improve their livelihood and food production. We all know how costly large irrigation schemes can be, and sometimes they are unaffordable because of fiscally constrained macroeconomic environments. So in these cases, and particularly in remote area, farmer-led irrigation can be one of the solutions.
The conference, which is underway in Accra, Ghana, is on the theme Investing in Farmer-Led Irrigation in Sub-Saharan Africa, Business Development and Research Practices. Prince Kwame Kuduga's report read to you.
The Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Ghana Education Service to commit an amount of 1.5 million Ghana cedi to support STEM education across the country. According to the head of legal services at BOST, Harriet Amwa, the move is to help students develop problem-solving and critical analysis skills. Speaking at the ceremony, she said BOST will continue its support to push the STEM agenda.
The scholarship is to give back to the communities within which BOST operates in diverse ways by recognizing the social and developmental gaps and being a leading force within the community. This, according to the company, is to maximize the creation of sustainable and shared value for its shareholders and for the other stakeholders and the whole of society it operates.
Sometime in December 2021, the ministry wrote to BOST to partner it to provide scholarship for needy but brilliant students and throughout the country to pursue engineering and community science degrees courses at 7 public universities in the country. So we responded positively in line with our corporate social responsibility policy on education, but insisted that such sponsorships from the community should go directly to our impacted communities in the country. Together with the Ministry of Education, BOST has gone to our impacted areas, that is Pong and Shai Osudoku district in the Greater Accra region, Lower Manya and Esujaman district in the Eastern region, Kasi Municipal Assembly in the Ashanti region, Central Gonja district in the Savannah region, Savelugu district in the Northern region, West Mamprugu district in the Northeastern region, and Bolgatanga municipality in the Upper East region. Overall, 200 candidates have been screened in all the above listed communities, and 50 have been deemed to have qualified to receive the BOST scholarship. Today, as we speak, the selected students have started their schooling at the Takwa School of Mines.
Minister for Education, Yao Osei Educhum, called on other private sector players to help in pushing the STEM agenda.
Every child, 50% of the students sponsored by BOST are students who had no science background in the high school. Of course, they did integrated science, but did not do physics, chemistry, biology like other students. So these students went through a 1-year pre-engineering program at UMass. Others began their journey from engineering because they've done science. And those who did a pre-engineering are now in level 100, and I'm informed that they're doing so well. In fact, the visual arts student who did art does very well in engineering classes. So we are pursuing an education agenda that is apolitical. It is about an agenda that will change the course of history of this nation, and that is what I've been tasked to do by the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Engineering, STEM, is his vision. That's why you are seeing STEM schools being built across the country. I'm an agenda pusher, somebody who wants to push the agenda for the President and to make sure that our nation's fortune, we can compete with other countries like Vietnam. You know, Vietnam is producing 100,000 engineers a year. Their population is 90 million plus. Ours is 30 million plus. If you're a student of mathematics, it's about a third. So if they are doing 100,000, we should be doing 33,000, but we are doing 6,500. If a company in the US wants to establish anywhere in the world, and a company that needs engineers, they are not coming to Ghana. It's not because they don't love the fact that we're a democratic nation, but they just don't have the people who are qualified to work for them.
The sponsorship package includes accommodation, tuition, a laptop, and a stipend to support their upkeep. The main goal is to train 50 engineers from these communities in the next 4 years to enable them contribute positively to the development of their communities.
Now, leading automotive distributor in Ghana, Silver Star Auto, has launched a partnership with Italian heavy-duty car manufacturer Iveco. The partnership will make Silver Star Auto the main distributor of light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicle trucks in Ghana. Addressing the media at a short soiree, the Italian ambassador to Ghana pledged his commitment to ensure deepened trade partnership between Italy and Ghana. Here's more.
The launch, which saw the unveiling of the new Iveco daily van, is believed to mark a new dawn in the Ghanaian haulage and logistics sector. Iveco's partnership with Silver Star Auto makes the car dealership firm the main distributor of Iveco range of trucks in Ghana. The trucks range from light to heavy-duty trucks. Speaking at the ceremony, the Italian ambassador to Ghana, Daniela Dolandi, said Italy and Ghana will continue to build partnerships to enhance trade between the two countries.
This partnership between Silver Auto and Iveco, a leading Italian commercial vehicle producer, is an excellent example of partnerships between Italian companies and local companies. The Embassy of Italy, together with the Italian Trade Agency, are doing their utmost here in Ghana to promote more opportunities for business, for trade, for partnership between Italian and Ghanaian companies.
Executive Director of Silver Star Auto, Nuhad Kalmoni, said his outfit is poised to deliver value for money in the automobile industry.
Well, this partnership entails the distribution of the Iveco range of trucks in Ghana. And it consists of basically light-duty vans and medium-duty trucks, all the way to heavy-duty trucks and buses. Definitely, we are putting in the range to be able to offer our clients the full range and complement of commercial vehicles in the market. So from small saloon cars to SUVs to vans and trucks and buses. So, and that's what Iveco brings to the table to us as well.
Detailing why business owners should choose Iveco trucks, the Iveco Export Area Sales Manager for Southern Africa and Ghana, Harold Wilson Aqua, said the trucks have been built to last.
Iveco being a world-leading manufacturer of trucks and vehicles, partnering with Silver Star, being one of the 4 founding fathers of car dealership in Ghana, lifts us to that pedestal of being able to penetrate the Ghanaian market. And most importantly, our trucks with the Euro 3 emission standards are perfectly designed for Africa and Middle East markets, especially Ghana, where we have bad roads, humid and hot climatic conditions. And our trucks are also tropicalized, so they are very, very good for the Ghana market.
Renowned businessman J.K. Hogley of J.K. Hogley Transport and Company Limited commended the robust nature of Iveco trucks and recommended the brand to other businesses.
Why the people should go for Iveco is that it's a car I've used all the European cars, plus the Chinese trucks. But the vehicle has a service brand and the engineering aspect of the vehicles built well. And if you follow the system, the car can last you a lot. My first brand of vehicle is 2017. If I bring one up here, you think it's a new car and all the cars park outside.
On that note, we end Prime Business here on Joy News Prime with me, Beverly Broohm. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I leave you with news making headlines on the internet.